Let me tell you a story. When I was a teenager, I was the smallest and the skinniest person in my group of friends. Even when I ate enough at home, I looked like a skeleton. I just had really skinny genetics. You could see like my bones through my skin. I was also shorter than everyone else because I was just a late bloomer. I come from a family of late bloomers. So I'm not kidding when I say, when I look back on like the old pictures of me in my class, I was 6 inches shorter than like the shortest of them, including the girls. I literally looked like I was a little kid when everyone else looked like a middle schooler, looked like a high schooler. I had one of those friend groups, you might know the kind of type, where you didn't even really like each other. Like if you were out of school, you wouldn't even like each other, but you guys were just together because that's who you saw every single day. So you were forced to kind of like pretend to be friends. They were also pretty toxic. So whoever they thought wasn't cool enough for them, they would shun or ignore. So pretty quickly, because I was awkward and I was a late bloomer and I was extremely skinny, they decided I was not allowed to be a part of the in-group and I was going to be the one that they shunned and ignored. But because I couldn't see that there was any sort of better existence or life for myself, I just kind of accepted the way that it was. I accepted that, okay, I'm just the loser of the group and I still want to hang out with these guys because they're cool and I'm not cool enough for them, but maybe if I hang out with them enough and I tell enough jokes and I'm funny enough, then they'll actually start liking me. I also did some sports in high school. So I was active, I was a healthy teenager, but they weren't the kind of sports that made you bigger, right? I wasn't doing football or anything like that. I was doing stuff like tennis or swim team, which honestly was probably making me even leaner. And to be fair, I didn't really care about the sports outside of just surviving practice. So I didn't really care about my performance. I didn't care about getting better. I didn't care about getting healthier or looking better. I literally just did them because my mom wanted me to do them. So my experience as a teenager was definitely not a very good one. I was a late bloomer, so I looked way smaller than everyone else. I was extremely skinny, looked like a skeleton. I didn't really have anyone that really respected me or liked me. And it started to be that my friends were all beginning to get kind of like girlfriends and have, good romantic interactions, and I wasn't. So everyone else had started to, develop their love lives as they were like teenagers, and I wasn't. So I was pretty miserable, but I just kind of accepted it because I didn't see any other way that I could change. But as I got older, I started to watch more fitness influencers and bodybuilders on YouTube, and I saw the kind of life that they had. They had strong, good-looking bodies. They had good friendships, good quality friendships, people that loved them. They had beautiful, attractive girlfriends, and they genuinely seemed to love what they did as well. They loved the gym. They loved progressing. They loved improving. They loved getting bigger. They loved posing and taking, cool flexing pictures and stuff like that. They loved it so much. They loved listening to like good music in the gym. They loved putting music over top their videos and just making it cool. They loved taking their pre-workout. Like they genuinely got excited whenever there was like a new flavor of pre-workout that they were trying. And they got genuinely excited over like different exercises that they were trying to add to their routine and stuff like that. And it just made me like fall so much in love with that lifestyle. I wanted to be better. I wanted to be stronger. I wanted to be bigger. I wanted to be different so fucking badly because my life was a complete opposite to their life. And so eventually I just said, fuck this. I need to change. No matter what, no matter how much it takes, no matter how long it takes, I have got to change my life. I want what they have. So what did I do to start getting stronger, start getting more jacked, start looking better? There's a couple things. First of all, I did resistance training almost every single day. It was 6 days a week. I believe, even though I did a lot of other sports when I was a teenager, I tried a bunch, I tried soccer, I tried swimming, I tried tennis, all this shit, I tried baseball. I think resistance training is really the only way that you're going to get bigger as a man. Like, it's really the only way you're going to build muscle mass as a man. Other stuff, takes a lot of endurance. It'll build some muscle, sure, but it's not really, the purpose of it is not to get you stronger. Like, the purpose of swimming is not to get you stronger. The purpose of baseball is not to get you stronger. The purpose of tennis is not to get you stronger. And so I knew that I needed to do resistance training and I needed to push really, really hard in it. And I did something very smart. When I was first beginning, I did not do 3 days a week. I didn't start with 4 days a week. I didn't even do like 5 days a week. I did 6 days a week. So after school, every single day, I would go to the gym and I would push really hard. From my experience, I don't think that a routine that's less than 5 days a week in the gym is good for beginners, because as a beginner, you really want to focus on building up that consistency, building up that habit, and really just like integrating training into your life. It might be crazy to hear this, but I never ever really had any problems skipping the gym or any consistency issues with the gym. And I think that's because when I first started, I forced myself to go basically every single day to the gym without any breaks. And so my brain just wasn't used to skipping. A lot of people will tell you that you should pick the routine that you think that you can follow for a lifetime, right? Basically pick the routine for longevity. But if more people did what I did and they just forced themselves to go basically every single day, their brains would adapt and they would actually feel more weird missing the gym on a certain day than going to the gym. There was a point in time where I genuinely felt like it was wrong for me to have rest days at all. And so a lot of the Sundays that I was supposed to rest, I either went to the gym anyways, or I did something like go for a run. I followed the push-pull legs split, repeated twice, and I would ordinarily rest on Sundays. And I would recommend this to pretty much any man that's trying to get a good physique, because push-pull legs, what I found is almost automatically builds a V-taper in men, while also allowing you to train for strength and also having 2 days of rest between working each muscle group. So in my opinion, it's basically the perfect routine. You could either do push-pull legs or you could do some sort of other 3-day split, but I recommend some sort of 3-day split. By the way, if you are serious about getting an aesthetic physique and you are willing to invest in yourself, the top link in the description is my full program. That is basically all of my years and years of lifter knowledge put into a single course. It's very detailed, it's very value-packed. It's more than I could put in a single YouTube video. And I share a lot of stuff there that I don't talk about on here, and it'll really just help you to achieve your goals. I would appreciate if you would just pause the video right now, go click the link, and then just watch the attached video to see if it's for you, because if it is for you and you don't check it out, then you are missing out. And if it just doesn't seem like it's the right time for you, like you can't afford it or whatever, I completely understand. I'm always going to keep making videos on this YouTube channel for free, so you can just close that tab and come straight back to this video. Thank you. So if you want to be the most jacked guy in your friend group, you need to be resistance training. You need to be going almost every single day of the week, and you need to push yourself really, really hard. It's very easy for people to, once they show up to the gym, not really kind of care about how much weight they push or how hard they push themselves. But this is the most important part. If you're not constantly trying to improve, you will not improve. I don't think you understand just how difficult it is for people to build muscle mass. It's not easy. Your body doesn't want to. You basically have to force your body to adapt and improve before it decides to build any muscle mass at all. The only reason, I'm being honest when I say this, the only reason that I did not quit after 6 months in the gym is because I pushed myself hard enough to where my body was forced to improve. I saw the improvements, I saw the strength improvements, I saw the physical appearance improvements, and I got more motivated because of that. Because before that, honestly, I wasn't sure if it was going to work. I wasn't sure if I couldn't do it or something like that. But because I pushed myself hard enough to where I actually began to improve, I got more motivated and I stuck with it. But I promise you, if you do not push yourself so fucking hard in the gym, harder than you think that you should, you will not make progress. Your brain will try to trick you to get you to stop by feeding you like uncomfortable emotions or feelings, but you have to push through that discomfort in order to improve. The way muscle growth works is you push your muscles outside of their comfort zone, and then your body responds by making them stronger. So you should constantly be trying to improve in progressive overload by getting 1 extra rep or adding 5 pounds to the bar. The more you try to improve and push yourself, the more progress you are going to make. Part of the reason that I pushed myself so hard was because I had so much hate towards the current version of me. Like I hated my life, I hated who I was, and I wanted nothing more than to change. And this kind of dark energy, even though it sounds kind of toxic and like, oh, that's a bad mindset, that's insecure or whatever, that is extremely useful for pushing yourself towards change. It's easy to want to hide from uncomfortable thoughts or always speak nice to yourself, but it's almost always better to tell yourself the hard truth. It doesn't feel good to tell yourself that you're weak or you're lazy or you're a piece of shit or you look like a victim. But if you accept that instead of trying to like suppress it and shove it down, then that is perfect fuel for the gym. That's perfect fuel for changing yourself. And in order to change yourself, it's going to be very, very difficult. In order to get a better physique, in order to get more jacked, you are going to need that fuel, trust me. As a man especially, it's very bad to always try to coddle yourself or cushion yourself emotionally from difficult truths, because that almost always leads to something bad. Whereas embracing hard truths, embracing your own shortcomings almost always leads to a better life for yourself. Something else that I did was really focus on my diet, because I had really skinny genetics, and so I knew that I needed to pay attention to what I was putting in my body in order to have enough fuel and building blocks for muscle growth. I started consuming the recommended 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, normally in a whey protein shake. And I really started to just increase the amount of food that I was eating throughout the day. I would add more to my plate. I would eat snacks, I would eat more frequently. And eventually I also downloaded a diet tracker so that I could really just like lock in my diet and make hella progress. It's very easy to not want to diet or not pay attention to it because it's kind of annoying, but because I provided my body with enough nutrients, right? I provided them with the building blocks. My body was able to build muscle mass and make progress way faster. Whereas if I had not really paid attention to my diet, then I could not have gotten that. Because I got enough protein, I was able to build muscle mass easier. Because I had enough carbohydrates, I was able to have just more energy in the gym, to push myself harder, to get stronger, right? To accelerate my growth. And so nutrition is also extremely important if you are trying to be the most jacked in your friend group. And let's just be honest here, a lot of people get into the gym very passionate and they really want to change, they really want to get jacked, or they want to get, they want to lose fat, whatever, and they just fall out. This is very, very, very common. How did I not do that? The answer is, from the very beginning, I loved it and I wanted to make it fun. The reason that I have never fallen out and I've never had consistency issues, even after 5 years of working out, I've never once had a period where I fell out of the gym, is because I made it the most enjoyable part of my day. What do I mean by that? First of all, I have playlists of music that are fucking bangers and I love, and I am fucking addicted to music. I love music to death. So I always listen to music in the gym. Number 2, I take pre-workout that I like. Now, a lot of people don't want to take pre-workout because they're worried they're going to get addicted to the caffeine, or they're going to get dependent on it or whatever. They just don't like the idea of it. I don't care. It tastes good. It makes me feel amazing. It makes me stronger and push myself harder in the gym. That is why I take pre-workout. I always wanted to make the gym the most enjoyable experience that I possibly could. And so I made it this ritual where I put on comfortable clothes, I took my I drove to the gym. There's like the silence of the locker room that's kind of therapeutic. And then I put my headphones in and I start playing banger music. And then I push myself extremely hard until by the end, I just feel nothing but proud of myself. But there's a lot more that goes into getting an aesthetic physique, and unfortunately I can't teach you all of it in this video. But if you liked this video, if you found this interesting, and you resonated with me, then you should click subscribe so that when the next video comes out, you can see it, you can catch it, and I can directly provide you with value. But how did my story end? So I started out as the shortest and the skinniest person in my friend group. Well, after a while, after my friend group kind of broke off because we all went to, different colleges and stuff, I fell out of touch with them and we stopped texting each other. And that gave me the freedom to build my own life. Now today, I have tons of good friends that I met in all sorts of different places. I've had multiple relationships. I've had lots of good experiences with girls. My life is just like amazing now. I can't believe all the opportunities that I have. My mental health is way better. And just last New Year's at midnight, the first minute of 2026, I open up my phone and I see that some of the people in my old group chat from high school posted just some pictures to the group chat of just like, their faces and whatever to the group chat so I could see what they looked like. And they all look exactly the same as when they were 17 years old. I look absolutely nothing like I did when I was 17 years old. And in a crazy twist of events, I ended up becoming the most jacked guy in my friend group. Thank you for watching. You should click on the video on screen and watch that. Thank you.